Hello everyone, so here is my final results for P90X. So it's been a great 3 months. I actually loved the program. If I had the time and I wasn't worried about I want to focus on school more, and otherwise I would do a second round right away. I'd probably start a second round today. When we started P90X we started it on June 7th, and I weighed in at 181.7. We finished phase 1. Did all of phase 1, it was pretty good. I weighed in at 173.4, so that was a loss of 8.3 pounds I lost the first month, and I'm so surprised about that. I remember that. I was very surprised I lost that much. Phase 2 wasn't great, and I didn't lose as much phase 2. I weighed in at 172.0, so I only lost 1.4 pounds in phase 2. Finished phase 3. Finished P90X and weighed in at 167.2. So that was a loss of 4.8 pounds this past month, for a total loss of 14.5 pounds that I lost. So as you all know, I tracked every day throughout the P90X journey. The only time I did not track there was 5 days that I did not track, and that was while I was camping. I figured out my average calories over the entire P90X journey. My average daily calories came out to be 2,525 calories a day. This morning, I actually took my measurements of myself. Now, I've been doing, every time I've been telling you measurements, I've been measuring myself, right? And I've been using the actual end of the tape measure to record what I'm at. And I know you're supposed to use at the 0. You're supposed to start at the 0 and work your way down. Now, so what I'm going to do what I did was I measured this morning. I measured both from the end of the tape and at the 0. I did that. I measured the end of the tape just to compare to my previous results. And then I measured at the 0 to start new, because I'm going to start from now on. I'm going to measure at the 0 from now on, because the 0 is more accurate, more actual numbers, and the end of the tape was just because when I first started measuring myself, that's what I thought was right, and then I was told otherwise. But I figured I'm going to continue this because, well, just to keep my mind going, because I was down to at that point I was down to 36 inches around the waist. That's the one I was measuring all the time, and I didn't want to know that I was actually back up to 37, 38, because that's an inch and a half difference. And so I didn't want myself to know that I was actually actually had about 38 inches around the waist. So I kept it down to the end of the tape until I was down to a reasonable number, and I'm down to that point now, to a reasonable number where even at the 0 I'm okay with the number I'm at. And I understand the number I'm at. I don't mind that number. Here are the numbers from the start of P90X, and I showed you this at the beginning of the thing. The one that I really want to know about is my waist. So I start off P90X at 35 inches around the waist. Measuring at the end of the tape, that's what those are. So measuring at the end of the tape again, I got my new numbers. And if you noticed, my waist one said I was at 32.25 inches, which is awesome. And so I did that, and I figured out my body fat percentage again. When I first started P90X, if you remember, I was at 19.88% based on these numbers. And based on my new numbers, I'm at 15.68%. Now, like I said, those are based on the numbers off of the end of the tape. So, I'm using those numbers just to compare, and so if you compare that, I lost 4.3% over the 3 months, and I'm perfectly happy with that. According to these numbers, that puts me down from the acceptable range down to the fitness category for body fat percentage. Now, again, like I said, I took my measurements from the 0 on the measuring tape, and these are the numbers that I got. as you saw, it said that my waist was at 34 inches now. So I don't mind that number. I'm happy with that number. Being back up to 34 inches is okay with me. And with those new numbers, based off the 0 on the tape, I got a body fat percentage of 17.77%. Last thing I need to talk about is my fit test results. So, we did the fit test last night. And me, my roommate, and his brother, well, I guess my other roommate, we all did the fit test together. Me and my roommate, we did our final results, and his brother did his starting results. A couple little things I think we did wrong the first time, but that's okay. When we first did the fit test, first move was the pull-ups. You're supposed to do max rep pull-ups, but I think the first time we did it, if I remember correctly, I watched my video again when I did my starting stats, and I think we did chin-ups, so reverse grip chin-ups. And I read it over before we did it this time, and you're supposed to do wide grip pull-ups. So we did that. So when I did it at the beginning of P90X, I'm pretty sure I did reverse grip chin-ups, I was able to do 8 pull-ups. When we did this time, I did the wide grip ones, and I managed to pull out 12. So I'm very happy with that. My vertical leap went from 31 centimeters to 36.25 centimeters. So you want to go by inches. I went from 12.25 inches to 14.25 inches. So I gained 2 inches in my vertical leap, which I'm happy with that. I wasn't aiming for, my goal wasn't to be able to jump higher, so I'm okay. I'm happy with that. Last time we did the push-ups, you're supposed to put something on the ground so you have to put your chest to it, so you're actually going pretty low to the ground. Last time we used the cleanest box, but we realized the cleanest box was kind of shifting around, so we were kind of moving our body around with it to keep it in line with us. But when I did it the first time with that, I did 35 push-ups. That's without touching my knees to the ground. I allowed myself to rest for a couple seconds at the top, at times. And I did the same thing this time, except this time I used a phone book, so it's not moving around. And I managed to pull out 50 push-ups. Then we did the toe touch, so you sit down, you legs out straight, and you touch your fingers to your toes. When I first started it, I got 0 inches. I actually did just barely touch my toes. I wasn't behind, I wasn't past. Nothing about that, nothing different, just 0. This time I did it and I got 3.5 inches past. So I gained 3.5 inches in my stretch. And I'm very happy with that. My wall squat, if you remember correctly from my starting stats video, I said I only got 1.5 minutes for wall squat when I first started, which is true, I did. And I wasn't happy with that number whatsoever. I was very disappointed in my wall squat when I first started. But I'm very happy with what I got now. We did it yesterday, and I managed to pull out 4.5 minutes on my wall squat. It was tough. If you were there, you would have seen me. My legs were just shaking like crazy, and I was just lowering. Basically, I don't know. I would say my ass is probably about that far from the ground when the 4.5 minutes came up, and I just dropped. So I got 4.5 minutes on it. My roommate managed to get 6 minutes on it. It's crazy. The bicep curls was next. When I first started, I did 10 reps at 35 pounds, and I was going to try to do 10 reps at 45 pounds this time. I got 4 reps in, and I couldn't pull any more out, so I put it down and took a little bit of a break, and then I did 40s. I used 40s, and I got my 10 reps in. So, not a huge improvement, but whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's improvement for me, so. Next we did in and outs. When I first started, I was at 55 reps. This time I was able to get 90. So, I'm happy with that. Very happy with the 35 rep, increase on that one. And the final thing was the jumping jacks. You have to do 2 minutes of jumping jacks, well, 1.5 minutes of normal jumping jacks, and then 30 seconds at full force. But I know I've improved my recovery rate because I went down from 168 down to 125 after 1 minute. Whereas the first time I did it, I started off at 178, went down after 1 minute, went down to 150 only.